Hey y'all, how's it going today? I have had my 1.5 cups of coffee, and I am at the coach's desk ready to drop a few nuggets about hook, line, and sinker, recognizing this three-part destruction strategy. This is for people in general, whether there's people out to destroy relationships, out to destroy careers and jobs, out to destroy brands, no matter what it is, or just out to destroy you as an individual. We live in such a toxic world these days that sometimes I think it's good to find pockets where you can go to just rest and listen and have your spirit and your mind fed with things that do not cause stress. So that's what I hope to provide over here. These recordings and these uploads, these videos are based on my opinion and how I move through life and things that I've learned. And also, as a life coach, what I try to get people to realize and to understand through their own experiences. Now, this particular topic might be a two-part series because as the notes were coming to my mind, I was writing them down and I got done. I said, okay, I'm ready to record this. Let me sit down. And it was like, but wait a minute. I felt like it was incomplete. So, how do we get to the hook, line, and sinker? And then, how is that prepared by the person who's getting ready to execute it? Because believe it or not, it's a strategy. So, first, I'm going to talk about how they prepare. What leads up to it will probably be a different video. And then the hook, line, and sinker itself may be a third video. I don't know. It just depends on how long this gets. I'm going to be watching the ticker because I know y'all's attention span might not. I'm not going to say I know. Let me take that back. The research shows that people's attention span is only so long. And I like to finish a video and then say, okay, I'm going to pick up on the next one as opposed to hitting the pause button. So we're going to get started. If you feel like if folks are out to get you, they may be. And here's how you can recognize it. So, hook, line, and sinker comes from the fishing world, okay? Because that's just what it is. It refers to how the fish used to gobble up everything, but I guess the line, like gobble up everything all the way up to the line. You can Google that piece. I like to know where things come from, so I did look it up. But now I'm going to talk about how we use it as a figure of speech. Um, you may have been in situations, I know I have been, where you feel like you're in a genuine place, or people are coming from a genuine place, or the relationship that you're in is one that is genuine, whether it's a family relationship, a platonic friendship, romantic relationship, business partnership, whatever it is. You feel like it's coming from a genuine place, and then all of a sudden it's like, man, what happened? Like, it all blows up. It starts to spiral really, really quickly, and it's taking you a while to get your head around what's happening. It could be that you just fell for the okey doke, or the banana in the tailpipe, whatever cliche you want to put on it, that was executed through what I think is a strategy: hook, line, and sinker. People say it and they move along. No, let's step back and investigate that. Hook, line, and sinker. 3 steps to that. They hook you in, they string you along, and then they hope to see as the end result whatever you're working on blow to pieces, or whatever relationship you're in dissolved and just blow. So people who do that bait you first. You know, if you think back to fishing, now I'm not a fisherman. I have been fishing a couple of times and that's that. So, but if you think back to fishing, you have to prepare the bait. You have to get it on the hook so you can cast the line into the water. And if you think about bait is, yucky and squirmy and to me it's yucky, squirmy, slimy, but the fish doesn't know that. The fish does not know that the fisherman is preparing the bait. And in order to understand where I'm going with this, you're going to have to think critically and you're going to have to follow me. And if you have any questions, be sure to drop them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. The fish does not know that the fisherman is preparing the nastiness on the shore. The fish is in the water minding its own business, swimming along, eating, chatting with the friends in this school. If you didn't know, a group of fish is called a school of fish. So the school of fish, they just swimming along, minding their business. Meanwhile, the fisherman is on the shore preparing the bait. The fisherman knows that the bait is nasty, stinky, and yucky, but the fish doesn't know. So they're actually setting you up in their mind. They're setting you up to get got, basically. And there are novice fishermen, and then there are master fishermen. The master fishermen are really crafty. This is just something they've been doing, for a long time. So much so that it's become who they are, it's become their character. You know, you can tell who's a fisherman sometimes by what they carry. Usually they'll have a fishing rod, they'll have a tackle box, they'll have a bucket. You can eventually tell who people are by the kind of bones they carry, the kind of conversations they carry. So, in parallel here, what I'm doing is comparing a fisherman to that person that is getting ready to employ this hook, line, and sinker strategy. Now, the novice has just popped on the scene, whether they've just gotten to the job, whether they have just learned of the relationship or they've known of it for a while, but all of a sudden they see something that they don't like or something that they envy, maybe. So now they have to get their hook, line, and sinker strategy together. So the novice is going to try their very best to get the bait together. But they drop worms here and there. They drop a worm here, they drop a worm there. It's messy. They don't really know how to employ the strategy because they're just coming on the scene trying to shake things up a little bit. So that's the novice fisherman. We talked about the master fisherman and the novice. They're both, no matter what level of fisherman skill they have, they still have to prepare bait before they cast it into the water. So if you think about it, with the novice, you have an advantage because you can spot mistakes early on and you can see the red flags. And some of us are really, really, really good at ignoring red flags. We ignore our spidey senses. We ignore when our eyebrows kind of raise because we like to give people the benefit of the doubt or we like to extend grace. That grace I talked about on yesterday. So we look past a whole lot of things in the beginning that should kind of send up alarm bells like this person is trying to bait me. They are preparing some sort of strategy to try and pull me off my game so that I lose focus so that I don't fulfill my purpose, or that I just kind of bail and say, you know what? Heck, I'm just gonna not do this thing. I'm not going up for that promotion anymore. I'm not gonna try and work this relationship out. I'm gonna be done with trying to pursue my business goals because I see people trying to bait me. It's the strategy that's employed. So baiting and hook, line, and sinker stems from jealousy, fear, imposter syndrome, all of those negative qualities that people have embedded within them. And so it goes back to the hurt people. And not to get too far off track, but these things are rooted in something. Hook, line, and sinker is rooted in something. Baiting folks is rooted in something. So they're getting you ready for the setup, pretty much, right? So now that they're getting you ready for the setup, they can go ahead and try and hook you in. So what do? Schmoozing up to you, being your friend, giving all these overly unsolicited great comments. People kind of try to latch on to you. Maybe they're trying to ride your coattail into wherever you're going without putting in as much work. Maybe you say you're going to this place and all of a sudden they show up there. You didn't know they had plans to be there. They didn't even mention it. You go ahead and say, hey, I'm working on this. I'm going to do that. The next thing you know, you've been scooped because they've done it. Maybe you're preparing a proposal at work, or you have a novel idea that will help push the company forward, and you kind of share it with them because you want to just pick their brain about it, get their thoughts about it. And then the next thing you know, that very thing that you wanted to submit is now their thing that has been submitted. And all of those things are baits type of activity. So if not saying that some folks aren't genuine, this is where we need to be discerning, because people will bait you and then turn around and act like they had no idea of what was going on. In part two, we're actually going to discuss the hook, line, and sinker and how you can turn it around at each step. Be sure to tune in for part two. I'm going to go ahead and upload both at the same time. Keep in mind, at the end of this recording, you've already been baited, and now it's time for them to put the hook in the water to get you. It's time for the line piece of that, which I think is the most interesting. And then it's time for you to sink, or maybe it's time for you to swim. Join me for part two in just a few minutes.